Hi everybody, I'm gonna be making some delicious beef tamales. Now I was brought up with this tradition of making tamales during the holidays, especially during Christmas time. Now many people like to have their families all come together, staff parties, gifts to give, and tamales is the perfect thing to do. Now I know that making tamales is a long process, but when you get everything together, get all your ingredients ready, everything will flow. And I'm gonna show you how to do that step by step. Let's get started. So this is a piece of meat that I'm gonna be using. This is a 3-pound chuck roast. Now it's not a shoulder roast. And I love this type of meat because it is very tender and it just comes out just falling apart. Delicious and perfect. So I'm just gonna cut it up into big pieces about this size right here. See, it'll just make it easier to cook. And so that's why I cut it up into pieces like that. Now, if you see some chunks of fat like this, you can go ahead and just remove them. So I've got my meat cut up. Now I'm gonna grind my spices. I've got cumin and peppercorns right here. Now I like to grind them fresh because that's what gives you the best authentic flavor. So I'm gonna go ahead and grind these up really good like this. I'm gonna be posting all the ingredients below in the description box so you'll know exactly what I'm using and how much, okay? So I've got my cumin and my peppercorns nice and ground, as you can see. Now I'm just gonna set it aside and I'm gonna smash my garlic. Okay, now I'm not gonna grind these because I'm gonna pass them through a sieve later, but I do like to smash them just so that they can release their flavor really nice like this, see? And I'm gonna do the same to all of them. So as you can see, all my garlic is nice and smashed. Now we're ready to go to the stove. So I've got everything ready and I'm gonna be boiling my meat in this deep Dutch oven. Now I'm gonna add my spices from my molcajete. See? Oh, they smell so fresh. Just like that. Here is my smashed garlic. I have 3 bay leaves. I have half an onion, so I'm gonna put that in there. And I'm gonna add my water. I've got 10 cups of water. Now I'm just gonna let this come up to a boil and then I'll bring it down to low so that it can be real tender and falling apart. I'm gonna add my salt, just like that. So I'm gonna wait until this water comes up to a boil, but I will come back as soon as it starts to boil because I wanna show you something. Now, as you can see, some protein is starting to form on top of the surface of the water. So you wanna remove that, see? Right before it starts to boil, you're gonna see this starting to happen. And you want to remove it and just go around removing it until the broth looks nice and clear. So as you can see, I have removed all the protein. See, here it is. So we can discard all of this. And as you can see, the water has started to boil. So I'm going to lower the temperature to low. I'm going to replace my lid. And I'm going to let this meat continue to boil for a full 2 hours and 40 minutes. Now we can go to our next step. So now that my meat is boiling on the stove for 2 hours and 40 minutes, I'm gonna clean out my chili pods. Now these are my chiles right here. I have guajillos, which are these. See, they're red. And then I have 1 chile pasilla, and this one is black. And then I have 3 chile ancho. Now these are poblano peppers. Of course, they're all dry, but they're full of seeds. And they come in bags like this. Now this is my chile pasilla. This is a long black one, see? And they come in bags like these. This is the bag where my chile guajillos came in. See? And this is the bag where my chile ancho comes in. Now, if you can't find these bags at a Mexican market store in your city, wherever it is that you live, then you might be able to order them through Amazon. Now here, we're able to find them everywhere, but I understand how it is when you can't find them. But you can order them, so that's good. Now with a chile guajillo, you wanna remove the stem and you wanna remove all the seeds from inside. Now usually a lot of them just pop out like this, but I use the scissors and I cut them up like this in half, all the way through to the tip. Then I open them up, see? Just like this, you see? Now you've got to go to the tip because sometimes they hide in there. Now some people like to leave the seeds in here. I don't like to leave the seeds in here because they are bitter. I think they're bitter. And then when you take them over to the blender, you're gonna have a bitter flavor in with your sauce. See how they're nice and clean now? Now I'm gonna get my chile pasilla. This is the black one. You want to just remove the stem like this. Open them up. Sometimes they're a little sticky from the inside, but that's just the way it is. You want to take it all the way through. See the seeds? And you want to remove the veins also. These veins right here, because these will give you a lot of problems in the blender. So you want to make sure that you just get a hold of it like this and take them off. And get them real nice and clean with the veins removed like this. See, this is ready. See? Now these are not hot. Many people are afraid of them. You look at them and you think, oh gosh, I'm not gonna be able to eat tamales with all that in here. But these will add a fantastic flavor to your tamales. See? Now your chile ancho, like this one, is a little sticky from the inside. So you just have to work at it a little bit harder, but you know, you can do the same thing that you did with the others. And that's to remove all the seeds and the veins. See, just like that. And you want to rinse these really well because they're dusty. You know, I don't know where they've been, so they're dusty. So you do want to rinse them really well in your sink under running water. See, this one is clean. So we have our chile ancho, the chile pasilla, and the chile guajillo, all three. And I'm gonna continue doing the same to all of these others, and then I'm gonna rinse them really well in the sink. I have all my chiles right here, and I have rinsed them really well, and I have cut them up into pieces, as you can see. I'm gonna put them all in here. I'm gonna wait for the water to come up to a light boil. And as soon as it comes up to a light boil, I'm gonna lower the temperature to low. And then I'm gonna let them simmer here until I need them. So I'm getting ready to soak my hojas. Now these are corn husks, but we call them hojas. This is the package that I have. See, it says corn husks, hojas para tamales. These are corn husks for tamales. So I'm gonna get them all out of the package like this. Now before I soak them, I'm gonna clean them up really good because they do come with debris in them in between. See, and I wanna make sure that I remove all the corn silk and any dust, you see, like these. So I put them under running water and I clean them all up, and I'll show you how to do that. So I'm removing all the dust and debris from my hojas, see? And I'm gonna put them right here until I get it all done. Now, many people just put them into the hot water like this, and then they use them right after that, but they do have debris, and every now and then, they may even have some bugs. So that's why you wanna make sure that you rinse them really well and you check them out and make sure that they're all good and clean. See, the whole idea to get them real nice and clean and then soak them in hot water is because you want them to get soft and pliable. Now, as you can see, they're real stiff. So soaking them in hot water gets them real soft And then you'll be able to roll them up without a problem. As you can see, I have all my hojas clean and ready to go. I like to cut off the tips so that they can all be about the same size. You don't have to do that. I just like to do that. And I'm filling up my sink with hot water. So I'm gonna put all my hojas in here. See? And you wanna make sure that they are fully submerged. And I've got some very hot water right here in this pot. And I'm gonna pour the hot water in there. So now I have plenty of water in here. I've got my bacon press in here because it's heavy. And I'm gonna put it over the hojas like that so they can stay submerged. Now, if you need to put something else in here, like maybe your molcajete or a very heavy plate, whatever you can use, as long as you keep your hojas underwater and keep an eye on them. Every now and then, you wanna come and check them out. And if you see that the water's getting cold, you may wanna put some hot water back in here. But you wanna make sure that they're in hot water all the time. So I'm gonna let them soak in there until we're ready to use them. It's been exactly 2 hours and 40 minutes. I'm gonna turn off my heat. See? And I'm gonna get the meat out of this pot. See? So I'm gonna start out by shredding my meat. Here's a bay leaf, we don't want that. And you wanna do this when it's really hot because that's when it's real easy to shred it. See? Look at that. See how it's just literally falling apart so beautifully. See, so I'm just gonna give it a quick shred and then I'm gonna chop it up because I want it really, really chopped up fine. So now that I have shredded my meat pretty good like this, see? Now I'm gonna start to chop it. Now, you can use your meat like this because it's real fine, as you can see, and it's real soft and perfect. But if you put this into your tamal, you're gonna have little strips like this. And it doesn't look good, even though it's real tender, as you can see. But it doesn't look good to see strings like this in your tamal. That's why I like to chop it up, you know, really fine after I shred it. So I'm gonna move it over to the side a little bit like this, and I'm gonna start giving it just a good chopping like this. So I have gotten my meat all nice and chopped really well like this. See? Look at this. See? I'm gonna put it into my bowl. See how pretty this looks? This is perfect filling for your tamales. So now I'm gonna clean up my area and I'm gonna get started on the next step. So I've got this bowl with this sieve right here. And I'm gonna pass all my broth through this sieve because that's the broth that we're gonna use to make our chile sauce and our masa. So I'm just gonna pour it in here like this. And look at the broth. See? Now that's why I put in plenty of water in here because I'm gonna need plenty of broth. But this is about how much I'm gonna use. So now we're gonna get ready for the next step. So now that I have my meat chopped up, I'm ready to make my chile sauce. They have been sitting here in this hot water for a long time and they're ready to go. So I'm gonna put all of these into my blender, okay? So I have all my chiles in the blender. Now I'm gonna put in the rest of my ingredients. I've got a small piece of onion. I'm gonna put it in there. I've got my garlic cloves, some beef bouillon. This just gives it a real good flavor. Now, if my mom would see that, she would say, no, no, no to the beef bouillon, but I love it in there. Some salt. And I have my oregano. I'm gonna put it in here, just like that. And I have my cumin and my peppercorn here in my molcajete. Now you know that I always like to grind my own cumin and peppercorns, but you can use a powdered form. So I'm gonna put them in here. And there they are. Now I have 2.5 cups of beef broth. This is the broth from boiling the meat. Now this is what I like to use instead of the water that you use to boil the chiles, because there's a lot of flavor in here. Okay, so I'm gonna put this into my blender. And now I'm gonna blend this up real well. And that's good. See? Oh, this is gonna give you the best tamales. I've got this sieve. I'm gonna put it right here into my bowl. And now I'm gonna pour all my chili sauce in here. So now I'm just gonna very carefully move it around like this until it all goes through. And then I'm gonna show you what we're gonna be left with. And it's not good. You can see I've gotten all my chili sauce through this sieve. Look at that. You don't want this in your tamales. And now we just have a beautiful, smooth chili sauce. So I'm gonna clean up my area and get ready for the next step. Now I'm getting ready to prepare my meat with the chili sauce. So I've got my Dutch oven and I've got the heat set on about medium low. And I'm gonna add my meat. Now I'm gonna add my sauce. Now I have reserved about 1/2 cup, as you can see, because I'm gonna use this for my masa. And this sauce over here, I'm gonna slowly pour it in here. Oh man, look at how beautiful this looks. These tamales are gonna be delicious. Now this is a good time for you to taste it. Oh my gosh, this is delicious. Now if you felt that you needed to put a little salt, this would be the time for you to do it. But mine is just perfect, just like this. So I'm gonna wait until it comes up to a very light bubble. And I'm gonna leave it here on simmer for just a few minutes. Now I'm getting ready to make my masa, and I'm gonna be making it in my stand-up mixer. And I'm gonna be using Maseca. See, it comes in this white bag. But if there's another brand that you'd rather use, you can go ahead and do that, not a problem. Now, when I've made them with Maseca, I always use this kind, but you can use any kind that you want. Now, I have another video where I made pork tamales. And in that video, I went to a tortilla factory where they sell the masa and you can buy it by the pound. And then you just buy that masa, you bring it home, and then you add your other ingredients and you're ready to go. But I know that a lot of you don't have a tortilla factory in your neighborhood or even in your state where you can just go and buy the masa. So either you make it with Maseca or you don't make tamales at all. So actually, they are delicious with Maseca. And it's a very easy process. So I'm gonna be making it in my stand-up mixer and I'm gonna show you step by step how I do it. So let's get started. So I'm gonna start out by beating my lard. You see, I've got it right here in this bowl. I want it to be real nice and smooth. So I'm gonna put my lard in the bowl like that, see? You wanna make sure that you get all of it. And I'm gonna use my flat beater. Now I know that many of you don't have a stand-up mixer. Just know that it's gonna take you a little bit longer, but you can still make it by hand. So I'm gonna beat my lard on low for about 5 minutes because I want it real smooth. So it's been 5 minutes, and as you can see, it's real nice and smooth from the inside. So now I'm gonna add my baking powder. See, just make sure it all goes in there. And I'm gonna beat it for a few seconds like this. So now that it's been about 30 seconds, I'm gonna add 1 cup of Maseca. And I'm gonna be doing it 1 cup at a time, okay? And I'm gonna add a little bit of my beef broth. And I'm gonna turn it on, just like that. I'm gonna add another cup. and a little bit more beef broth. Now it can get a little messy, so you need to be careful. So as you can see, I'm almost done mixing my masa, at least all the ingredients. At this time, I'm gonna add some of my chile sauce that I had on the side, remember? And this is gonna give it beautiful color. Plus that chile sauce is gonna give it a delicious flavor. I'm gonna add my salt and I'm gonna continue beating it. As you can see, it's starting to get a beautiful color. Look at that. I'm gonna slowly be adding a little broth at a time until it's that perfect consistency that I want. And I'm gonna let it go like that for about 15 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes and my masa looks perfect. Now I'm gonna do the water test. Now I've got a little glass of water. Now if you've never heard of this test, what you do is you get a little glass of water like this, and then you get some of the masa and you drop some into the water. If it floats, it's ready to go. If it sinks, you have to keep on going a few more minutes. See? Can you see how it's floating up at the top? That means that our masa is perfect and ready. So now we're ready for the next step. I'm gonna clean up my area and get started putting our tamales together. So we're ready to put our tamales together. I've got all my masa right here in this big bowl. Every time I make tamales, I like to use this big bowl because it's very roomy and it gives me all the space that I need. Now right here, I've got my meat and it's ready. And I'm gonna be setting all my tamales on this cookie sheet. Now in this bowl, I've got all my corn husks, my hojas, and they're real nice and soft and ready to roll. So I'm gonna start out with my first one. So here's my hoja right here. Now I like to put my masa like from here down to the bottom, and I try not to get too far off to the edge right here. And I stay off a little bit from this side because that'll be easier for me to roll. So I'm gonna get my masa and I'm just gonna take it down like this. See? Now you don't wanna put a lot of masa because you don't want them to be super thick. But my Ron does like a lot of masa because he says it tastes delicious and he doesn't want it to be too thin. So anyway, you just put your masa like this, and then you're gonna put in about a tablespoon more or less. You don't want them too thick, but not too thin. At least that's not how I like them. You see, just about like that. Okay? And then you're gonna roll it over and take it to the edge right there. And I like to just push it down like this, and then bring this one over like that. And then just fold it. See, and you press it down here, and then I'm gonna set them on my cookie sheet. So I'll do another one. Now, if your hojas are very, very wide, I don't like my hojas to be super wide because then that's a lot of folding over. So I usually just take a little bit off from the edge. Then I get my masa and just spread it down. See, just like that. Want to make them just a little thick, but not too thick. Then you get your meat, just like this, see? And then you want to fold this over, and then bring this one over, and then fold it, and then just seal it up here at the top, like that, see? Oh, and the hojas have two sides. This side is a little smooth. You can feel that it's a little smooth. And this side, you can feel more of the ridges over here. So you want to use the smooth side. Then bring it over. Just seal it right here with a masa. And then bring this flap over. Fold it. And then you can just close it up from up here. And I'm going to continue the process. Now I'm finishing up my last tamales. Now when I've got about 15 or so to go, I make them specially just for my Ron. Now as you can see, I've got some jalapeno slices right here. So He likes jalapeno in his, and plenty of it, like that. You see? Then I'm going to roll them up. And these are for him. And these are for my Ron. So I'm done rolling up my tamales, as you can see. I almost rolled up 5 dozen, but I was short a few. So I've got my steaming pot right here, as you can see. And I've got the water in here already. And it goes up to about where the steaming pot starts, right here. So I'm going to start putting them in here, and I'm going to show you how I do that. As you can see, it's got holes. So this sets into the pot, and then there's space down here at the bottom, and that's where all the water is. So then the steam comes in through the holes, and then it steams your tamales. Now I usually get my steaming pot sideways like this, laying on the side. And I put them in here one at a time. And this way I'm able to put them in here without them flopping over. See? Now you don't want to get them real tight. You want to give them enough room for them to be standing up comfortably. You don't want them too crowded. I have a couple of other steaming pots. If they don't fit in here, I'll use another one. So I'm just going to continue the process like this of putting them into my steaming pot. Now, as you can see, I have all my tamales in my steamer, and I have covered them up with some leftover husks. And I like to cover the top with them like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just do the best you can. Now, I've got some kitchen towels, and these are wet, but I have wrung them out. And I'm going to fold it, and I'm going to put them up here. See? And tuck it in. Now I'm going to get my lid. So we've got one. And here's the other one. So I just get some of these leftover husks. And this will help keep the steam in. See? Because these can really keep the steam in really good. See? Just like that. And I've got another kitchen towel. So I'll place it on top. And it's also wet and wrung out. Cover them up like this. And then I'm going to place the lid like that. And I'm going to put it into my pot. Now, as you can see, my water is boiling in this pot. Now I'm going to get my steamer and I'm going to set it in here. See? And you see how well that seals? You don't see any of the steam. Depending on what kind of pot you're using, if you start to see that some of this steam is escaping and it's escaping really fast, you might want to remove the lid and cover it up with some aluminum foil and then replace your lid. You want to do the best you can to keep that steam inside. Now I've got this steamer going and now this one. I'm going to let them both steam for 1 hour and 30 minutes to 1 hour and 45 minutes. I will check them at 1 hour and a half. So my timer just went off and it's been exactly 1 hour and a half. I already checked my tamales and they're perfectly ready. So I'm going to turn off the heat. I'm going to remove the lid. And they're very hot, so you have to be very careful. See? And I'm going to go ahead and get 2 of them out. See, there's one. Now, when you first get them out of the pot, they are very soft. So you have to give them a few minutes before you open them up. So after 10 minutes, I'll be opening them up and showing them to you. So I've given them a few minutes. Now we can open them up. You see, you want to give them a few minutes so they can set because they're still very, very soft. And these are still hot. Ooh, look at that. See? Oh my gosh. I can't wait to eat these. Ooh, look at how easy they roll out. Here's another one. See? Oh my gosh, and look at how beautiful they look. Now we like to have them with salsa. You can have your favorite salsa, or you can leave it out if you don't like it. See? Now let's cut into one. Oh, look at this. See? Now for the taste test that I've been waiting for all day. Oh my gosh. These are just absolutely heavenly. Super delicious. We like to have them with a cold salad. That's what we're gonna have right now. And with salsa, because it's all a meal in one. You know, they're rolled up. You have the masa and the meat inside and a salad and your salsa. What more do you want? So these are my delicious beef tamales. If you like my video, give me a thumbs up, send me a comment and tell me what you think. Thank you.